So we got this dumb bitch, also known as stupid ass bitch, also known as like literally just what the fuck. So QAnon congresswoman faces calls for arrest after live tweeting Nancy Pelosi's location to rioters. Not good. Not good. Believe me, not good.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ. Did you use the word smart?
So, okay, I've been covering this one as well as Marjorie Taylor Greene a little bit more than a lot of channels, at least the channels that are in my sphere that I am aware of. Because really, I mean, again, there's a lot of new people here, so I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. I started this show a year ago, mostly to cover Bernie Sanders in the primary. And when that kind of fell apart, I kind of switched more to focusing on just how ridiculous Trumpers were. And so this one, Lauren Boebert and mostly Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie is a little bit more wacko. Really came on my radar around, I want to say, like April or May. And these people are like they're nutso. They're absolutely out of control. Like, okay, when I was watching the I streamed the whole day during the Capitol attack. Now you can literally go back and watch it. It's like a 9-hour stream of basically right after Trump's speech. So it was like right around when they started C-SPAN or whatever. And this one was one of the first people to object to the election counting. And during the riot, she was tweeting Nancy Pelosi's location. She was saying, Nancy's out of the chamber. And so basically, really what we can do, to my understanding, and I'm going to read this article in a second here. To my understanding, assuming a rioter with the intent to capture Nancy Pelosi, which there were some there, was able to read her tweet and then act on it, I think that would make her, I think that would make it actionable against her, if I understand law correctly. Maybe I don't. But let's read this article. This is from Raw Story. My point here is that I've been covering these people for a while. They're nutso, right? They're nutso. Lauren Boebert, a gun-toting supporter of the QAnon movement, is facing backlash after she was accused of live tweeting House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's location during the attack on Capitol Hill last week. Boebert shared the tweet soon after President Donald Trump's supporters stormed the Capitol with deadly results. The speaker has been removed from the chambers, Boebert wrote. Again, what? Right? We were locked in the House chambers. The speaker has been removed. Today is 1776, she declared in another tweet. Now again, I covered, I think it was the day before, January 6th. She made a video where she's like, I'm going to carry my gun around Congress. The liberals won't be able to stop me because I support the Second Amendment. So this person was kind of bragging about bringing guns to the Capitol building, right? And then on January 6th, she says, today is 1776. What? Yeah, so you can read the rest of these. But, the thing that I understand here is that, again, if there's, if there's, direct coordination between any of these terrorists that were trying to kill the speaker and her Twitter feed, I feel like she is going to jail. And then this also brings out another more important aspect of this. The most important fight right now, if you are a leftist and you care about elections or electoralism or our legislative bodies, the most important thing we can do right now, if you have a Democratic representative, call them, all of their offices, figure out who they are, get your senator, any federal representative that you are a constituent of, call them, and demand that they co-sponsor Cori Bush's legislation to expel the members of Congress that objected to the election results and that endorsed and embedded the terror attack. That is the most important thing we can do right now. Call your senators, Call your reps. Now, if you have a Republican representative, like I do, I live in shit, fuck, motherfuck, ass fuck. So I've got a Republican rep. Mine, by the way, signed on to the objection. So what I would do if you have a Republican representative, and what you have to do is you have to do this. You can't just say, you can't call on the phone and say, fuck you! I'm gonna rake you over the coals! Like Jimmy Dore. That's not how it works. You don't do that shit, because you're not a fucking low IQ dullard like Jimmy Dore, right? You want to call them on the phone and say that you're very afraid, say that this attack is serious, say that you are, reading on social media that they're going to plan another attack, right? You need to be as reasonable, as emotional as possible, and you need to do it in all of their offices in like multiple times a day in all of your representatives and senators that are Democrats. And if you've got Republicans, what you need to do is, personally, I mean, there's multiple prongs here. Personally, I called all of my Republican senators and representatives and asked them to resign, and I did so respectfully. And if let's say you get 100,000 people telling you to resign, I don't know, it's gonna make you sweat a little bit, right? Maybe. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you have a Democratic representative, it's a lot more, obviously, you can gain more out of this. But we need to expel these motherfuckers. All of them. Every single one of them needs to be expelled. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. They need to be expelled and locked up for sedition. Now, again, I am not a patriot. I do not like America. But there's a 14th Amendment for a reason. We've been through this before. We had dumbass motherfucking Confederates try to destroy the government before. That's why we've got the 14th Amendment. Why not use it? Right? If we get rid of half the Republic, or more than half of the Republican Party, imagine the legislation that opens up. Imagine you've got a House that's got 280 members in it, right? And like 200 of them are Democrats, or how many there are, like 218 or whatever. Imagine that situation. We've only got like 30 Republicans left in the House. Imagine what the possibilities are. Look at the Senate. You can get 2/3 in the Senate. I mean, they would probably reappoint people relatively quickly, because that's how they do it in the Senate. But my point is, this opens up a huge possibility for legislative wins, and it's feasible. There's a 14th Amendment, and to my understanding, the 14th Amendment says that these people need to be expelled, barring a 2/3 majority of votes. To my understanding, and I want to read, I think it's Section 3, 14th Amendment, Section 3. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to get to the super chat in a second. I like doing that in between segments. Thank you, by the way. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress, or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state. And so this opens the way to expel members of state legislatures. Look at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania literally performed a coup. And I didn't cover that. I was going to, but then everything happened in the Capitol. But I'll maybe get into that. Who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as any member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort. That's the important part. Aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. Now, this is the part where it gets a little bizarre. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Now, what does that mean? Now, I've seen a lot of people with multiple different interpretations of this. Does but Congress may, by a vote of a 2/3 majority, mean that they're expelled by default? And that you need to have the 2/3 majority to keep them? Because that's what it looks like. It says that you should not be a senator or representative. That's what it starts with. You cannot be a senator or representative, but for a 2/3 vote that allows you to keep your job. That's what it says. So I say, let's put it to a vote. Can they get 2/3 in the House and the Senate? Probably not. Expel those motherfuckers. Expel them. Now, if someone wants to give me the alternate reading and tell me how it works, I would like you to, I would like you to let me know. But again, it says right here, if you engage in sedition or give aid or comfort, today is 1776. The speaker just left the chamber. That sounds like both aid and comfort. The 14th Amendment should disqualify these motherfuckers and the president, by the way. The president is not immune to this. They need to be expelled now. Now, Nancy Pelosi said this morning, or last night, whichever, I read it this morning, that tomorrow, or maybe later, or actually, no, today's Monday. So today, she is going to be having a caucus call to discuss the 14th Amendment, particularly Section 3. So we'll see. Will Nancy Pelosi stand up and do what it takes to hold the Republican Party accountable? She hasn't so far. She's failed so far to hold the Republicans accountable. Will she step up now? Or are we going to have to endure a second Capitol attack? Are we going to have to endure an attack on the inauguration? Are we going to have to endure these people trying to attack, like, the vice president, rather, the president-elect on Inauguration Day? Because that's what they're planning. That's what they said that they're planning to do. So, is Nancy Pelosi going to stand up? Or is she going to sit down and let these neo-Nazi fascist losers destroy the country? She said 14th Section 3, not me. She said it. So let's see how this goes. This is very important stuff. Again, the most important thing we can do right now. Oh, force the vote on Medicare for all. Whoa, whoa. You know what would be a lot easier to get Medicare for all if we expelled 130 fucking Republicans. It would be a lot easier to get a $15, hell, $20 minimum wage if we expelled 130 Republicans. You know it would be a lot easier to get a climate legislation if we expelled 130 Republicans. Get a stimulus package, maybe even $2K monthly, if we expelled 130 Republicans. Imagine how easy this would be, right? Now again, will Democrats live up to the moment? Probably not. But hold the phone, everybody. Call them up. If you live in a Democratic state, call them up multiple times a day. Get all your friends to call them up. Write them letters. I mean, letters are probably a waste of time because by the time they get there, it'll be like, you know, the Nazis will already have control of the government by the time the letters get there. But write them emails, call them. They should be expelled, but for a 2/3 majority. So let's do it. Let's get it. We don't need to impeach. We should. But we don't need to. We can just get rid of these people right now. They're gone. They're done. So, that's, I think, in my opinion, the most important thing we can do right now.